Paul Brendan Lyles, and this is Make and Do in my shop. So, here goes. There's a little bend in that I'm pretty sure will clamp out. But as these lines are on the inside, letting them up against to measure, that little bend in the board will make that very difficult. I will almost have to clamp it first to measure it properly so that when it clamps into place, it'll be properly cut. Hardly any gaps in the glue ring. The lamination looks fantastic. It's a nice 90 degrees, good pattern, good color. The issue then is to cut the miters properly. Even with the bend, I'm going to have to clamp them in place to do that and mark them A and B sides so that once I've measured, I'm that much more precise on keeping the same piece with the same side of the table. As a matter of practice, I think it's actually more convenient to go ahead and remove the clamping ends, these little pads, each time I do clamping, because sometimes they're not necessary. They get old enough and they keep falling off, and I don't like having to deal with that every time I just remove one from the shelf. So I take them off and I keep them in a drawer, and when I'm in need of them, I do that instead of a board. Sometimes a board actually makes more sense. All right. Here we are. All the screws and dowels are in place. The only thing that remains is to sand it, clean it up, maybe fill that guy right there, and then spray finish. It says allow a minute to dry and should set up within an hour. Clear gloss, I think that'll do. Oh, by the way, this is my repair. I put some Gorilla Glue on the surface as well as in the interior to keep it from teetering, and then took a marker to it after I'd sanded and steel wooled it. Cool thing about plastic is you can sand it down and then steel wool it, and it brings it back to not quite glossy, but it's not an offensive looking finish. I wasn't unhappy with that. I just need to watch out and remember to adjust the saw back over to the 45 angle. Otherwise, I'm going to keep hitting it. I've hit it a second and a third time after that first time. Also had an incident where trying to clamp with this guy across, handle slipped off. What I ended up having to do was take a grinder to the edge there and bevel it a bit so that it would work its way through. Then I retrofit a guard screw that I happen to have, and now it's like a charm. Make and do. Also, I had some gaps. I can see here I had to fill, and I used some sawdust and glue. And I may have to do a little filling like this guy here. It's got a 32nd of an inch gap there. I've had this belt sander for 20 plus years. It's good to go now. And what I'm going to do is clean this edge up, hopefully without taking off any veneer. Protect my ears and my lungs. It's just too flimsy. I'm going with 40 grit, really toothy stuff, to get parts of this to come down.